Logan Gilbert's going behind Chris Sanchez and Chris Sale. Are you kidding me? I'll tell you why. Logan Gilbert should be picked over those two coming up on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. I'm Matthew Ahne, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcasting network. Thank you, everydayers and new listeners, for making us your first listen each and every day. I am a longtime fantasy baseball analyst with over 20 years of experience in fantasy baseball knowledge. And why I do this show, it's to bring it to you. Whether you're watching, listening, please make sure to like, subscribe, share, rate, and review. It really helps out the show. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. I got a really great show for you. All right, we're covering round 4 of ADP, and it's early, and I get it. But there are some important details we need to pay attention, because this not only sets the footings for how ADP is going to develop, but it's also going to give us kind of an early layout of the land of how we can kind of manage our picks and see, okay, who's really going to shoot up and who's not, and who really doesn't belong there. But I'm going to tell you what, there are some highlights in this. For instance, Logan Gilbert going behind Chris Sale and Christopher Sanchez. What? You got Yordan Alvarez falling in the 4th. Another insane value, probably the best value over the last 4 episodes I've done. And why all the closers in the 4th? There's so many questions going around in this round that we need to tackle to get a better understanding on how to map out our draft strategy for 2026. So let's dive in. Christopher Sanchez or Logan Gilbert? Well, let's start off with Christopher Sanchez, who had a phenomenal season and a non-injury season as well, which is probably part of the reason why some of the drafters are going that way. Christopher Sanchez had a phenomenal year. 202 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts, a 2.50 ERA with a 1.06 WHIP, and the FIP followed up suit with a 2.55 WHIP. FIP, absolutely stellar. On top of that, everything he did seems super repeatable in the underlying stats. You know, guys only barreled against him 5.7% of the time, which is key, because what is barreling? Barreling is quality contact. 5.7% of the time, stellar. The better part, too, is he really suppresses hard contact and keeps that down at 39.8, which helps suppress runs. I mean, he also plays in one of the easier parks to hit in. So having that is super healthy and tells you, hey, that is repeatable. That's going to be success in Citizens Bank Park. On top of that, the amount of ground balls he produces does that 58.5% of the time, really helps to keep the ERA down. All things I think that are making it repeatable. Then you look at the walk to strikeout percentage. He only walks guys 5.5%, mixed in with strikeout percentage of 26.3%. Stellar season from him. Everything seems to be repeatable. Can't really find too many holes in his games in this season, and hence why he's being drafted as a top 12 arm. I mean, I don't disagree in a lot of ways. There's not too many, pitchers that really rise up that I would say need to go over him, in all honesty. There's some new names. Maybe Hunter Green can get in the mix, but I don't think if he surpasses, if not, they're kind of in the same ball game. Cole Reagan's really, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. But let's really dive into, okay, well, who are we picking? We're kind of splitting hairs, but who are we going to get the highest ROP on? And that's return on pick. And my pick personally is Logan Gilbert for many reasons. I love Logan Gilbert. Logan Gilbert is a guy that I feel that truly is just is a better pick. And let me explain why. Yes, Logan Gilbert dealt with some injuries this year and really slowed his upswing, but had a good year overall. 131 innings pitched, 173 strikeouts, a 3.44 ERA with a 103 WHIP. The FIP was sitting at 335, but the biggest standout before even good is the K per inning and the 173 strikeouts. Yes, 131 innings pitched, which you probably didn't miss, but that is a massive uptick. That is a career high in career innings. I mean, career K per K per inning ratio. It's actually stellar. That is a step forward and something that could set him apart from anybody else. Look, if I'm looking for upside, I'm looking for a guy that's going to give me the best return in terms of upside, whether I'm in points or in head-to-head rotos. That is the kind of player I want. A guy that's going to get insanely higher strikeout numbers than the innings pitched. And that is the key part. Look, let's compare the two real quick. You know, Christopher Sanchez on this year, 212 strikeouts. Now we go back. Logan Gilbert, 131 to 173 strikeouts. Like that is a huge difference. Is it repeatable? Well, let's dig into that because that's the part that really will say, hey, can we get it? Well, here's the deal. Struck out guys 32.3%. Even with some negative regression, and he comes down to like, we'll say 29%, totally doable because he gets guys to whiff 32.9% of the time, which even if that dips a little bit, that'll reflect on the K percentage, but enough to say, hey, this number is sustainable and this is a new number that if this is truly here to stay, his top 5 arm potential, hands down. The ERA, I think, is something that can be fixed. Look, he gave up quality contact and hard hit percentage at a rip that I really don't like it at 8.6 and a 41.7. Tad bit too low, which is a combination of, inflated ERAs, where if you look in the past, the barrel was up over 1.5%. Because usually allows guys to barrel about 7.2 in 2024. In 2023, it was much higher. So I think the 7.2 is kind of the mean. The hard hit percentage, give or take a couple percentage, and he's actually okay. Ground ball percentage needs to come up a hair, but he pitches in a park where it's okay. Half his starts are in a park where it's going to support him, but it's not atrocious at 39.8%. Gets guys to chase 30.4%. And the fastball velocity is about the same as Sanchez, but Sanchez does not do the K per inning like Logan Gilbert, and the ceiling is higher with Logan Gilbert. So I'm going to go with Logan Gilbert. That's just me. And we're splitting hairs. And I did Chris Sale on the other side of this. Chris Sale's great, but I'm going to lean Logan Gilbert. I think Logan Gilbert is the young stud that I think got a rough shake. And if he would have played a full season, especially with the strikeout, the K per innings, it wouldn't be so glossed over. And he'd be probably a top 5 arm, if not top 3. Because Logan Gilbert had a hell of a year, even with the injury and dealing with all that garbage and mumbo jumbo. So do not sleep on Logan Gilbert. Now, I skipped a guy in ADP, and we need to cover him, and that's Zach Neto. And, man, he's getting picked pretty high. Now, I'm not upset with it, in all honesty. Shortstop for Los Angeles Angels, but there's not much of a team behind him. Yeah, but he's at least good, Dom and I called this breakout. He had a really good season, 502 at bats, 82 runs, 29 doubles, a triple, 26 bombs, 62 ribs, 26 stolen bases, batted 257. I'm really not mad at this. The OPS was sitting at 793. Look, this price is still a little too high for me, in all honesty. A guy that really isn't going to have a shot at, more ribby numbers and more run numbers really kind of hampers his production, even with the stolen bases being at 26 with 30 upside. And with the decent power numbers of 26 home runs this season, it's just not enough. Like I would like to see in the mid 90s to 100 runs to have the ribbies so low. You lose a lot by drafting him this high. It's like, and it's not even like he's hitting the 40s like a Nico Horner in the stolen base category. And that's kind of the part where he's just in that like little too high kind of type deal. He should be more going in like the 6th round, in my opinion, even if there's a potential breakout. He's still limited by the team around him and the opportunities to be driven in and to drive people in. So these are the problems that I see for Zach Neto that are going to cap his ceiling, unfortunately, until the Angels just decide to bring more players in. Then we can have a different conversation. I mean, there's still free agent to be had. They need to bring in more bats. And then we could consider giving him this position and considering picking him. But right now, this price is way too high for me. And if it continues to rise, in all honesty, he's probably going to hit my bust list. Because quite honestly, we forget a 4th round pick, just for reference of who's going after him. If you really want to go, and we're going to get into it anyway later in the show. Ketel Marte, you're picking him over Ketel Marte, you're picking him over Manny Machado, you're picking him over Yordan Alvarez, you're picking him over Mookie Betts, you're picking him over Rafael Devers, Bryce Harper, Matt Olson, like all guys that I feel are going to outperform Zach Neto in all five categories, at least four out of the five, where it's going to be much more conducive for your everyday play. So for me, Zach Neto falls below that, and he really should not be high. And that's just me doing a rough cut of the, who's in the next two, in this round and the next round, ultimately. So be wary. Coming up next, I'm going to cover Ketel Marte and Manny Machado and why I should be picking him over, and so much more coming up right after this. This season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with can't miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your first $5 bet wins, you'll get $300 to use across the app. And I love using FanDuel. It's because it fits however I like to bet. Player props, building same game parlays, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, and the best way to add a little bit more energy to Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download FanDuel app today by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. And we might as well make that first $5 bet count and make sure you get that $300. I got a great same game parlay for you this weekend. Look, Jets are playing the Dolphins, and I understand it's a division game, comes with a little bit of risk, but I think this is obtainable. Anytime touchdown for Devon Achane. Anytime touchdown for Breece Hall. I'm taking the Dolphins at -2.5. And I'm picking the over on points because both defenses kind of suck. And so get the over on 41.5. And I think that's going to be a great same game parlay that you're going to be able to take to the bank. Not only make some money on that $5 bet, but also get that $300 bonus to use across the app. All right, let's get back in it. Like I promised, we'll be talking about Ketel Marte, who had a great season. Look, I'm actually really impressed. He played most of the season, and really just did his thing. He missed 30 games, 40 games, which still isn't great, but still managed to play 480 at bats, 87 runs, 28 doubles, 28 bombs, 72 ribs, 4 stolen bases, batted 283. It's a great season. Honestly, he's not a guy that's going to play every game. Look, it's not going to happen. He's done it one, two times, played 150 games or more. Rest of his career is well under 50 games. Next career high is 144 in 2019. And since 2020, it's really been 90, 137, 136, 126, and 150 game season. So we just have to accept it. But I feel the draft price is worth it because when Ketel Marte is on the field, he's actually really good. In my opinion, probably the best, if not second best, second baseman, in all honesty, on the board. Like, I like Jazz, but I probably lean Ketel at that point. But I like Jazz, but also Jazz has positional flexibility, so that's kind of key. Probably wouldn't use him at second base. Whereas Ketel is awesome, you know, has the ability to dominate for you. And this kind of profile isn't usual at second base. So therefore, I'm willing to hop in it, and I think he's totally worth it in the fourth round. It's kind of a steal. I think it's a great price and probably the right price. I think the injury is kind of built in. The only thing you got to hope for is he's not hurt during the month of September, and you're pretty much gold. And let's just hope that he gets his injury out of the way nice and early, and you can just ride off into the sunset towards the end of the season and just kill it from there. I'm still willing to take that shot because the potential is great. And it's not like he's, you know, some crazy old guy going to his, mid 30s. He's only 31, going to be 32 this year. Still in his prime. I think he's going to be just fine. A guy I'm definitely picking in all platforms. I wouldn't say a full-blown target, but a guy I definitely can. All the underlying stats scream it. Walk to strikeout percentage says batting average is completely, obtainable. Striking out only 14.9% of the time and walking 11.5. Great for both roto and for points leagues. Guy barely whiffs and chases. It's amazing. Gets quality contact on the ball at a barrel percentage of 13.5%. Hard hit percentage of 47.0%. That's phenomenal. That, totally supports the 28 home runs. And in 24, he hit 36. So, that also supports him hitting over 30 home runs. Everything screams he's worth that pick. So he's totally worth being the number one second baseman, in my opinion, if not the number two. So we want to talk about Manny Machado, another guy that had a really good season. I'm actually truly impressed. Third baseman for the San Diego Padres going into his age 33 season. This past season was stellar. 615 at bats, 91 runs, 33 doubles, 27 home runs, 95 ribs, 14 stolen bases, batted 275. Look great. Absolutely great. I got to say. And the power numbers are there. I'm okay with 27 home runs. Love the runs, love the ribs, solid overall. And third base is a little bit more on the rougher side, in all honesty. You look at the talent that goes to third base and you're just like, yeah, like you have the question marks that Dom and I talked about yesterday with Austin Riley. You have the conversation of Eugenio Suarez, and is he actually going to live up to what he did this year? You have Michael Garcia, who I truly don't believe in. Alex Bregman, you don't know where he's going to land, let alone what the deal is with him. Jordan Westberg, I'm a big fan, but I'm still picking Machado over. I think Machado's just been so consistent over the last couple of years, uh, last decade, honestly. That he's totally worth it. He's still only striking out 19.3% of the time, walking 8.1%, which is league average. I'm totally good with those numbers. It tells me the batting average is just repeatable of what he's doing, nothing out of regards. The quality contact is still elite at 1%, mixed with the hard hit percentage of 51.5, which is super elite. That combo supports the power. If not, says, hey, he can also hit 30 home runs, if not more. Average exit velocity sitting at 92.9%. The expected batting average is right on par at 275. So everything just screams Manny Machado is going to repeat what he did in this past year. And it kind of just solidifies the trust that I have in picking him, and is a great pick in the fourth round, depending on your team construction. So I'm all about picking him, getting a third baseman and a shortstop earlier in the drafts for sure. But all right, let's move on. Let's talk about Andres Munoz of the Seattle Mariners relief pitcher. Now, he had a great year. Do not get me wrong. He had a phenomenal year. Did it 1 year too late for me. I was a year too early on him, I feel, but still great year. And when I say that, it's just like, the same numbers. This career high in saves, 62 innings pitched, 83 strikeouts, 38 saves, a 1.73 ERA, the whip of 102.7. Stellar season. Now, am I willing to pick him in the fourth round? And this is a team construction kind of type deal. So, yeah, I'm going to have the advantage at saves. There's a lot of closers in this round. So the arguments are going to be similar. But am I going to have such an advantage by picking him here that I can't obtain later? And that's the question you got to ask yourself. And for me, it's always closer later in the game. Like, I'm not looking at closers until probably around like 8 or 9. There's still quality closers. Yeah, it's not the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are going all in this round, which is bonkers to me. It's just I'm okay to take that step back as long as I can get a couple quality guys later in there, and I'm okay with it because my team is better for it. In all honesty, I'm able to compete, whether that's getting a starting pitcher, like in this round, like a Logan Gilbert, a Christopher Sanchez, or if it's me picking up stellar bats and just building up my roster in those ways. And you don't need to win in saves every week. You just need to be competitive enough to win them 50, 40 to 60% of the time. And you're doing great. And that'll be a nice edge and a bonus that puts you over the hump. And you probably could pick some guys off the waiver wires too, because there was plenty this year. And that is how you manage your closer role. And you don't need the elite. And therefore, picking him in the fourth, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. And I'm not going to repeat myself as I cover. I'm going to tell you which ones are my favorite moving forward. Munoz, out of all of these, isn't my favorite out of all of them, out of the 3 closers that are in this round. I said 5, but 3. Between him, Duran, and Diaz, Duran is my favorite. Well, I'll tell you why coming up after this. All right. So Explain Munoz. I'm going to move on to Yordan Alvarez. We'll cover more pitchers and more closers after him. All right, we'll move fast. Yordan Alvarez, dealing with a boatload of injuries, obviously didn't make it on the field. Sucked. He was a first-round pick. I mean, there's nothing else you can say. But the fact that he's jettisoned to the fourth round when he was just last year, first-round pick, high second-round pick, something's wrong. Dude is explosive. It's for average. It's power out the wazoo on a team where he's going to get driven in and have Ribby's opportunity. Makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. Like this, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't pick him. He is the number one pick in this round. The number one pick. Honestly, if I'm at the end of the third and I need an outfielder, I'm reaching for Yordan Alvarez. I will take the shot on Yordan being not, even if he misses the beginning of the season, because the upside is just unreal. And the question is like, okay, is he actually ready for opening day? That's a different story. And I'm going to look up when he's going to be available. Let's see here. So he should be ready. He's going through his progress. He should be ready for. So, I mean, he's ready for opening day, and that's with no setbacks. But if he's ready for opening day, why isn't he at minimum a second round pick? This is steal, ladies and gentlemen. Do not pass up on Yordan Alvarez in the fourth. I don't care. He hits or he plays 450 games, 450 at bats. You have an advantage. You won your league because you got a first round talent in the fourth or third. And that is going to be the key difference. Let me remind you who Yordan Alvarez is over the last couple of years. Yordan Alvarez in 2024 had 35 home runs, 86 ribs, and 88 runs, batted .308. In 2023, 31 home runs, 97 ribs, 77 runs, batted .293. In 2022, had 37 home runs, 97 ribs, 95 runs, batted .306. In 2020, 3 home runs, 92 runs, 104 ribs, and .277 batting average. You're going to tell me you're going to pass up on that ceiling over Zach Neto, Ketel Marte, Manny Machado? I can go into the previous, the earlier round too if we want, and we can talk about, other guys going right above him. You're going to pick him or Trey Turner? I'm going to pick Yordan. Him or Alonso? I'm going to pick Yordan. Him or Jazz? Yordan. Him or Jackson Churio? Yordan. Like, come on, guys. This is a steal of a lifetime. Don't pass on Yordan Alvarez. Don't even think about overlooking him. Unless we start hearing injuries, Yordan Alvarez is a full-blown, ready-to-go pick that's going to win you your league. So do not sleep on him. Let's move on. So Edwin Diaz, why is he my third favorite out of this group? Well, for one, he plays for the Mets. Mets love the Met, and that may not be a statistical analytics part, but they love the Met, which means they get in their own way. Now, he fits my prototypical favorite kind of, closer, a guy that has high strikeouts and a low ERA. I mean, it's insane. 98 strikeouts this year. Stellar with a 1.63 ERA. Phenomenal. But only 28 saves. Honestly, I mean, the Mets are good. Juan Soto, I think, should have a better season than he did last year, even though, I talked about how the stolen base numbers are going to drop significantly. But, he's going to have a good year. Lindor's there. Alonso, I think, is re-signing there. Let's see what happens. If you didn't already, please, give me heat in the comments. The team's good, but, they don't win every game. They love to get in their own way, and therefore Edwin Diaz is going to be capped. And also Edwin Diaz loves to get in his own way too. It's just one of those things. I mean, you look at last year and, he had to get pretty much like demoted to then get his job back to do things. I mean, there's some years he's just not successful. You see it. It's like kind of like an every other year thing. If you really look back, dating back to like 2019, 2019 at a 5.95 ERA, then a 1.75, then a 3.45, which quite honestly, as a closer, 3.45 ERA is not good. A 1.31 ERA, and then in 2024, 3.52 ERA, and then in 2025, a 1.63 ERA. So this is the other year. What does that tell you? Well, probably going to be a down year, which is okay. But I'm going to pass out now. It's not, again, statistically analytical. Everything under the sun kind of says, hey, this is repeatable, except for one thing I will say is he walks guys at a high rip, and he still gives up hard contact at an okay rip, but suppresses quality contact. Everything he did last year was totally repeatable. Just be aware. Be aware. It's just not my favorite guy in the group. I think that Duran is a strong second, and we'll get into him coming up after Jacob deGrom, who implicitly surprised me, wholeheartedly surprised me. Congratulations, Jacob deGrom. Well done. Starting pitcher for the Texas Rangers. If you're not from the planet Earth and you didn't know who Jacob deGrom is, he looked like retro Jacob deGrom. It was amazing. 172 innings pitched, 185 strikeouts, a 2.97 ERA with a 0.92 whip. Phenomenal season. Phenomenal season. Now, he isn't the crazy, I have 50 more strikeouts than I did have innings pitched. No, but I'm okay with this because I could roll out Jacob deGrom every week and he'll be sensational each and every week. Look, he does a lot of things right. And this is also his first year back. After only playing 10 innings in 2024. Really impressed. Control looked good. It was hitting awesome velocity on his fastball at 97.5 miles an hour. Just doing his thing. Now, things that he needs to work on is quality contact. He has barrel percentage at 9.2%, hard hit percentage at 41.9, which is kind of ugly. That's where you start giving up a lot more home runs and not producing enough ground balls at 38.1%. He needs to figure those parts out, but I think he will. He's been so good for his entire career. The only thing is he's 37, going to be 38 this year. In the latter years of his career, but I still think he's got a little bit more juice in the tank. To be drafted this high, as where is he going now? Jacob deGrom is coming off the board as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The number 9 starting pitcher is a little too rich for my blood. I don't want him as my SP1. In all honesty, even though he had a phenomenal year. Look, I look at history. Last time Jacob deGrom really season outside of this year has been a bit. I mean, you look at it, 10 innings, 30 innings, 64 innings, 92 innings. Discount, take away 2020. And then, so the last time he played a full season and had all 32 starts was in 2019, before this year. So 4 years, I'll give it because you don't count 2020. The likelihood is more on our side that he's going to get hurt and miss some time. And it's just not built into the cost. And Jacob deGrom loves to miss time. So for me, bust. If he's like SP13, I'm all about it. SP14, all about it. I just can't leave the draft with him as my SP1. I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure at that point. So just kind of avoid him in those regards. Hopefully the price comes down. I feel it's an overreaction to the great season he had. So it is what it is. But let's move on. So about Yordan Duran. Now the closer for the Phillies. Absolutely stellar season. I love the landing spot. Since he going to the Phillies, he really took off. Had a really good year. All honesty, was stellar. A grand total of 70 innings pitched, 32 saves, an ERA of 2.06. Just amazing season. A 1.10 whip, like amazing. Love it. 16 saves with the Phils, and that was in 20 innings versus the 49 innings it took with Minnesota. The production, the ability, the let alone the opportunity with the Phillies just screams he's going to have more saves than 32 next year. as long as he can just maintain his excellent play, which I think he can. He's a beast. So the save opportunities are going to be great. I have him slotted in right now as probably my closer 2, I believe, because he's just in a position to just be so successful. Munoz has the ability to be 1. I think right now today he probably is my 1. But again, my argument is always I'll never have a top end closer just because I just don't value him the same way. And I feel like you're hurting yourself in team construction. But, him and Munoz are, splitting hairs. Edwin Diaz is definitely in a lower tier. So that's just how I feel on the matter. But guys, please like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, do everything you can to share the show because we truly love bringing it to you each and every day. And thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get your local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB or YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. Peace out.